Welcome to Precoat Metal's coil coating overview. Let's start with a couple high-level statistics. In 2021, Precoat Metals coated enough coils to circle the Earth more than 10 times. We also coated enough pounds of metal to produce almost 18 Nimitz-class aircraft carriers. Now let's take a look inside our Granite City, Illinois Northgate facility. Built in 1981, the facility is around 260,000 square feet. That is roughly the size of 5 football fields. This plant employs 85 people between plant hourly and the management staff. There is one coating line that is capable of running up to 48.5-inch wide material with a maximum gauge of 0.05 inches thick. The line has a maximum speed of 700 feet per minute and is 3,000 feet long, comprised of hundreds of mechanical and electronic equipment, all precisely coordinated together into one cohesive unit. The bare metal coils are transported into the plant via tractor trailer, and each coil weighs around 40,000 pounds. To put that into perspective, the average weight of an F-150 pickup truck is 5,400 pounds. That's a little over 7 trucks in one coil. During the receiving process, coils are visually inspected for mill or transport damage before being removed from the truck. The receiving clerk will take pictures of both sides of the coil and verify that the coil information matches the information on the bill of lading. At this time, the coil is received into the AS400 system, and a coil tag is generated and attached to the coil. This coil tag has a unique number that will follow this coil through all the steps of processing. This coil is then transported by an overhead crane and put into bare coil storage. At the entry section of the line, employees are busy digging out and staging metal based on the run sequence in our portal system. This system gives the operators throughout the line all the information they need to process each order in an efficient manner. Once a coil is staged on the bucket, the entry employees will verify that it is the correct coil by matching it to the customer order. Quality checks are then performed to verify coil condition, weight, gauge, and width. At the entry end of the line, there are 2 uncoilers that allow a continuous feed of metal into the line. When one coil is finished running, it is mechanically joined to the next coil by the operator. The press punches an arrowhead stitch through the head and tail of both coils. The end of the first coil and the beginning of the new coil are now locked into one. The operator has 60 seconds to join the 2 coils in order to keep the line from stopping. There is a tower at each end of the line that is 95 feet tall, almost 10 stories high, and can accumulate 750 feet of material. They move up and down to allow the center section of the line to run at a constant speed. This is critical to maintain the precise dwell times needed in the wet section and curing ovens. The strip begins its journey through the line at the pre-clean section, where oil, smut, and metal fines are removed. The first major process to the strip is the leveler. This machine is used for shape correction to the incoming metal from the mill. It will remove or improve basic shape issues like wavy edges and buckle. The flatter the sheet is, the easier it is for us to paint it. This shape correction is achieved by stretching the metal and extending the strands as needed to release the poor shape. To do this, the machine uses 2 very strong bridle motors at each end and small steel work rolls that bend the metal back and forth under heavy pressure. There are 3 main things we do to the material as we process it. We clean and treat, paint, and then cure the material. The wet section is the foundation that the rest is built on. What we do in the wet section ensures the overall quality and durability of the product. We use both chemical and mechanical means for the removal of dirt, smut, and metal fines that are byproducts of the milling process and detrimental to the coating process. A caustic cleaner is used that cleans and etches the surface of the metal. It is then treated to create a good surface for the paint to bond to, while also providing corrosive resistance in the field. Lab technicians monitor the header spray quality, chemical concentration, and temperature of each cell to ensure proper cleaning and treating throughout the coil. Upon exiting the wet section, the sheet is now ready for the coating process. At this point in the process, the sheet is now clean and ready to be painted. Here we apply a thin film of primer to both sides of the sheet. This is accomplished through the use of the equipment you see here. The operator in this room has already identified the proper paint for this order by referencing the portal system. The paint is pumped from a 55-gallon drum into the coating pan. It is then picked up by the lower roll and applied to the strip by the applicator roll. The operator is constantly monitoring the paint viscosity, roll speed, and nip pressure to ensure a consistent application of coating film at a specified thickness. Immediately after the sheet is painted, it enters the 125-foot long prime oven. Here we are flash drying the primer to the desired level of cure per the paint vendor's instructions. The oven is a forced air catenary oven capable of internal temperatures up to 900 degrees. To dry the paint properly, the metal must be heated to a peak metal temperature specified by the paint vendor for each specific paint. As the sheet exits the oven, it goes through a short cooling tank. Here we spray water on the sheet to cool it down to around 110 degrees before it continues to the finish coater. Now that the sheet is primed, we are ready to apply the final finish coat of paint. This will be the color the customer ordered. There are hundreds of unique colors that we apply for our customer base. Here we will apply a thicker film of paint to the top side and a thinner film of paint to the back side. This is accomplished through the use of the same equipment you saw in the prime coater. The process is also monitored by an operator in a similar fashion. On the top side, we also have two independent coating heads that allow us to switch back and forth without stopping the line. While one head is painting the active order, we are able to clean up the other coating head and set up the new color for the next order. After the sheet is painted once again on both sides, it enters the finish oven to be cured and then cooled in the quench tank before arriving at the exit end of the line. Here at the exit end of the line, two operators work to finalize the production of a finished customer coil. One operator takes samples of the painted metal and performs a series of quality tests to ensure all end product characteristics are within quality specifications. The physical sample is retained for 1 year. All testing data is entered into the portal system for retention and disposition if there are any out-of-spec conditions. The second operator is visually inspecting the coil as it runs for cosmetic or functional defects. He is also reviewing the customer coil weight requirements to produce the optimal size coil for that order. Once the correct size is reached, the operator will cut the sheet and remove the coil from the recoiler and start a new portion or order. After being removed from the recoiler by the exit operator, the coil is visually inspected for quality defects. It is then transferred from the coil cart to the coil tipper by a member of the operation support group using an overhead crane. The tipper rotates the coil 90 degrees and places it on a skid. A fork truck driver will then move the coil from the tipper to the packaging area. Here, it is packaged and secured to the skid with banding. A new coil tag is then generated with the original number and a portion number and placed on the coil. The customer's finished product is then transported to the finished goods area for storage until shipped. When a customer's completed order is placed in finished goods, it is assigned a location in the computer system for easier location when being staged for a load. Coils are stored by customer and color to expedite locating the coil when a truckload is built. Shipping helpers will pull shipping releases overnight and stage coils grouped by load and release number in the shipping area. In the shipping department, our goal is to have 100% of our loads staged. This is very important to minimize truck wait times, especially during peak shipping hours. Time studies have shown that a truck can be loaded and out the door in 10 minutes if staged. Precoat Metals operates 13 strategic locations housing 15 coating lines. Many of these facilities have value-added processing capabilities, which include shape correction, slitting, embossing, blanking, printing, and laminating. Precoat Metals has led the growing use of pre-painted metal for 60 years. The coil coating process is truly an engineering marvel.